Hello and welcome to Blogsprout. I'm LJ and today I'm going to go through an income report for my largest site where in month 11 I started it at the beginning of 2022, so it is now November 2022 for which I'll be reporting my income report. So all the income reports I do are structured in a similar way. I just discuss the milestones, the articles, the page views, what the Search Console results are, the backlink profile, income, expenses, and then go into lessons learned and goals. So it's an entire recap of the month. So the milestones for my goals for month 11 were not met. In all my months, in all my goals, I try to get 30 articles. I was just shy of that this month, and I experienced a little bit of decline in traffic and income, so I didn't reach any of those articles. And I've had this update relevant articles on there for a while now, and I just haven't gotten down to sit down and really update them because they will take quite a bit of time. But milestones, one of the things that was nice over the course of this month is that my Leap score, which is Ezoic's speed optimization product. So that score went from 92 to 97 on mobile, and the highest score you can get from them is 100. So that's great to see. And my desktop, I think, has been around 95 the whole time. So it's great to see those so high. So major activities, I did try to reach out to a new brand for a possible affiliate program, exclusive advertising or collaboration. I haven't heard back yet, so my hopes are not very high. And I did change my settings in Ezoic to revenue focus for Q4 because I was given that recommendation by Ezoic themselves. I changed that in the second week of November, so it might take a little bit of time to see that go up, but it is the holiday season, so it may be difficult to know if that's specifically based on that setting change or just the time of year. So the articles, as I said, I didn't quite get the 30 articles. I got 29, which I'm still happy with. It's still great. A lot of those are ones that my VA has been working on. I just haven't gotten around to publishing them yet. So great job on her part. And then I did put a few of my own. So if we go into page views, if we look at Google Analytics, it said I had 50,000 users, which accounted for 67,000 page views. As you can see, everything was slightly down compared to last month. Of course, there is one less day in September, so we have to account for that loss, which is why we see that little drop at the end of the graph. There's no data for the 31st of September. Then if we look at the Ezoic page views, we'll see that the number of visits went down 12% and page views went down 12%. So I had 77,000 page views this month, but 88 last month. And then visits were down 66,000 from 75,000. Oh, and my apologies. There's no 31st of November, not September in my previous slide. So if we look at the overview, as you can see, is that we saw some exponential growth starting around March, April, May, June, July. Had a bit of a dip in the middle of July, which was due to switching my theme over, and that caused the robots.txt files to block the site. So that recovered. We saw some nice growth in the middle of September with all the updates, but then ever since then it's kind of been on a slow decline, and you'll see right at the end of November something happened, and we will discuss what happened there. So for month 11, you can still see I'm getting, just over half of my traffic from Google and the rest from multiple other sources. It slightly went up, in the top or in the right side is the current month and the left is the previous month. So it slightly went up in terms of Google percentage compared to last month. Again, I do know exactly what happened. And if you follow my channel and are part of the community, you'll know what happened because I posted about it. So if we look at the Search Console results, this is the overview. So as you can see, kind of around maybe July or August, we're seeing a very flat line for the impressions, but the actual number of clicks has been up and down. And this is something that I'm trying to figure out why exactly it's happening. I did notice that a few months ago, one of the articles that was bringing in a ton of traffic went down, and then a new one I published went back up. So I think it's part of the newer content ranking, but the older content falling, which is why I said I wanted to go and update some of the articles. I think that's kind of what's causing this variation, which fortunately is keeping it relatively stable. But again, this does tell me that it's more likely that I'm changing and fluctuating on page one, so I'm having the same number of impressions, but the click-throughs are different because I'm no longer at the top of that page. So if you look at this month, this is comparing month 11 to month 10. We were slightly down. Again, it's one less day, but we had 3,000 or 2,500 less clicks, the exact same impressions like I had seen before, but you can see that average position is slightly down this month compared to last month, which is, I think, accounting for those clicks. So if we look at Bing Webmaster, so this is the overview. As far as you can go back, it doesn't actually, at least to my knowledge, let you go that far back, but as you can see, right at the end of November, there was a drop, and this is not because it's December. This is because I found out that Bing decided to de-index my content. I was no longer showing up on any of the Bing search results for any of my content. It was just removed. When I went into search Webmaster Tools, Bing Webmaster Tools, it didn't tell me that they were de-indexed. It said they were still indexed. They should still be showing. It was the weirdest thing. I sent in a request to Bing to manually take a look into what was going on, because to my knowledge, I wasn't violating anything. I, reached out to some other bloggers, and it seems like it's something that does happen to some people, which is, kind of unfortunate. But I am, unfortunately waiting to see what Bing does and if they get back to me to fix this problem. But an interesting thing to note here as well is if we look in blue, those impressions are the same on Bing too, but the clicks seem to be going down again around that September timeframe. So I am curious if there's something else going on in the searcher intent. This is my first, approaching winter season, and if I have the impressions, I'd hope that the click-through rate would be about the same, but maybe there's some different behavior. Maybe they're not going, the user's not going in depth into the type of research they're looking to, so they're not actually engaging in the content more, considering it's happening on both Bing and Google. But again, until I kind of have more data, it is hard to identify what exactly is happening. So, like I said, that's supposed to say month 11. I guess I didn't update this, but I still had about 7,000 clicks, even with the de-indexing. As you can see, that happened around or at November 27th, and it was just gone. So that's a bummer, because as you know, this site gets a decent amount of traffic from Bing and DuckDuckGo and Yahoo. And losing that, lost about 30 to 40% of my total traffic. So when it was de-indexed by Bing, it was also de-indexed by DuckDuckGo. I checked that as well. To some extent, it's better to be de-indexed from this because it's bringing in less traffic compared to Google. But Bing actually does have really good EPMVs. So losing that traffic, isn't great. And also affiliate commissions outside of that probably come from some of the users from Bing too. So if we dig into SEMRush, I've been showing this stat for a few income reports now. It doesn't seem to show us much, but if this is your first time seeing the report, you'll see that most of my content is informational. It considers some of the other keywords transactional / commercial. I don't have the premium version of SEMRush, so I can't really dive into which keywords it's saying, but I would say, 80% informational is definitely definitely accurate, which is why most of my income comes from affiliate or from ad revenue. So SERP features, this is something that obviously is not what I want to see. Before last month, we noticed that featured snippet went down to 2, as we're seeing in the bottom. It was 4 to 600 or so. It was somewhere in that range. I also had some people also ask, was I lost? And now all of it's saying is I have these site links, image packs, and images. So I don't know, images and image packs went up. Site links stayed the same, but it said I no longer had anything, and people also ask for featured snippets. So that's definitely something of interest, but I am trying to get a better idea of, in this niche, what really is Google trying to show, what information they're showing, because I have noticed that on some searches, I have a previous video on this, in some searches, there'll actually be a discussions and forums section that'll show multiple discussions on those. Google will also try to have their own answer, so they won't use a featured snippet. They will make essentially their own snippet based on all the data that they have. And that's something I see is potentially causing problems for what I'm currently working on with my site, which is why I'm working kind of to expand the site into kind of other avenues, which we'll talk about later. So SEMRush keyword positions, what I like to see, compared to last month, is I had 50 or 500 new keywords and 1,000 improved. As you can see, those numbers were up, but also more declined and lost compared to last month. Again, take with this what you will. So let's look at the backlinks. So Uber Suggests is saying I'm slowly gaining a little bit of authority. I'm now at an 18 rating as opposed to 17 with, according to them, 350 domains compared to 230 last month. SEMRush authority has stayed the same at 44, but it does show that the backlinks went up about 500 links, and I improved the number of referring domains by 11%. So if we look at the backlink analysis, again, most of them are lower authority. I've really been thinking of trying to improve a strategy of either creating more original data or getting polls, having something that is link worthy. And I'm working on that, but I have to, show up well in the results in order to link to. So it's hard to find a balance of something that will have the search results and will rank. So, I do have that 181 to 90 link in there, which is great. I just don't know exactly what it is. So Google Backlinks, it said I improved that, about 300 links. A lot of them seem to come from a kind of spammy website, and they just pretty much put every single URL that I have. So as I publish more articles, that number just inherently goes up. So this isn't the number of domains, it's actual links. So the number of actual domains is somewhere in the range of 90 to 100 right now. So if we look at, according to Google, again, so Bing Backlinks said I nearly doubled my referring domains, which, everything's saying it's going up, which usually isn't necessarily a bad thing. More backlinks means you have a higher chance of one of them being valuable, because that is something that I'm lacking at the site, is I don't quite have that authority. The site's only 11 months old. A lot of the content, it's certainly accurate and it's better than the competition, but if, a big competitor steps in and tries to take it down, they probably could, just because they have that higher authority. So now we finally get into income. So the gross income for the month was $2,011.24. So there were expenses, as there have been for the last few months. So that's not all profit, but it's still a pretty good chunk of that. So let's break that down. So if we look at the Ezoic ads overview, so this is showing for the course of November, and in the light green is the mediation partners, the middle green is the Ezoic ad partners, and I'm also part of the premium program. So the regular Ezoic ad partners, I got $1,500.29, and the premium partnership gave me $688.01. So I'll discuss what level I'm at in Ezoic and what that cost me. But this came out to a total ePMV of $35.13. And as you can see at the end of the month, that those earnings went down compared to what I was getting constantly in November because Bing dropped my site. So if we look a little bit more in detail, you can really see that revenue go down at the end of the month. But the total revenue again is $2,300 with a $35 ePMV. So when we look at Google AdSense, the number on Ezoic was slightly off, so this is what's actually reported by Google AdSense. That was $132.53. So compared to some of my previous months, this is much lower. I was getting Google AdSense in the $400 to $600 range, and this just tells me that the ads that are in Google AdSense aren't as competitive as they are, on the Ezoic platform. So, it's great to still have that, but I kind of wish that was slightly higher because that would probably indicate that there was more competition. Doesn't necessarily, but it could. So Amazon affiliates, I made $470.49. As you can see, the line was pretty flat. You do see a pretty big bump on the 28th, which was, you guessed it, Black Friday. So I did see a slight bump in ordered items, but a lot more clicks. Again, not super high. I don't have a ton of affiliate content that would really lend itself towards Black Friday content, and deals, but having it be such a big day for sales, I think the clicks were higher. As you can see, I also had a $3 bounty, which was, I think, is a Prime, week trial or whatever those are that you pay, like $2 for. So it's nice to see, when you get a little bit of extra income from someone trying it out, because I don't actively push that. And it's a 13% conversion rate, so I'm pretty happy with it. That's one of the reasons I stick with Amazon affiliates. As you know, I also have another affiliate program. It didn't do great this month. I only earned $19.75. The total sale amount was $350, and there were only 3 sales. So each sale there is, just over $100. But it was 118 clicks, and I think the cookie windows, it's either 30 or 60 days. It's pretty long, so there's a chance that some of those people that click will use it in the future. It's also a coupon, so, someone might screenshot it or, print it, and then I'll get that commission later when they actually use it. So let's look at the ePMV. So like I said, Ezoic is showing $35 ePMV and 13 cents. So this is just looking at the ad earnings versus the number of visits according to Ezoic. I used to do both Ezoic and Google, but it's just getting a bit too complicated. So if we look at overall, total earnings, including that affiliate income, the ePMV is $42.55, which is really healthy. It'd be awesome if I could just get the ad ePMV up to that, but I have noticed from my site and other sites that this Q4 isn't as lucrative as maybe it has been in the past. Again, I am relatively new to this, so this is my first time even going through the holiday season. So let's look at expenses. As you saw before, I had $2,800, but some of that were expenses. So how much did I spend? I spent $493.04. So what was that spent on? My VA does some work for me, so I spent $53.04 on her, and then the Ezoic premium level I'm at is $440. So if you remember, I had $688 from the premium ad partners, and I paid $440 for that. So that gave me an extra $240, which is certainly, certainly worth it. But it is an expense, and it's not great when you see that $2,800, but you have to pay 40. You have to pay 400 for it. But we'll see what Ezoic does in the future. Stay tuned. So that leaves the monthly profit to $2,318.20. I'm still pretty happy with that. It's really hard to complain about even getting over $1,100. So being at that level 11 months in and having had that consistent income for the last few months is great. But I really want to stick with the site and get this to, really, really good numbers. I think it would just be wonderful for myself, for my future family. But it's definitely a really nice boost. So lessons learned. So the problems. I always like to start on the problems. I'm still seeing that downward trend of clicks and visits on my site towards the end of last month and into this month. It's not great. It could be a seasonal thing, but because the impressions are the same, it's very odd. And a huge problem, something that, I was kind of freaking out about, but I've learned there's only so much you can do, is that Bing de-indexed my content on the 27th. So it's no longer on Yahoo, Bing, or DuckDuckGo, which is a pretty big chunk of my traffic. So I don't really have many lessons learned because that problem, wasn't fixed by the end of the month. I didn't run into any other major issues, but one thing I probably should have written here is that if follow my channel, you know that I just started a sister site, which after the preliminary results are not going to be as successful as this one. And, I think part of the lesson is that it's a lot harder to put in all your energy when you're working on multiple things. So ideally, I'd like to get, this sister site passed off to a friend or family and kind of split equity on it, since I have the know-how, but have someone to do kind of the execution. So I really can focus on this site because, a big growing, certainly a big debate is whether you should focus on one or multiple. I like the idea of having multiple, which is why I started the second one. But I also understand that if, to get to some of the numbers that I hope to get to, I think the way to do that is, one big site, a brand. And that's kind of where my head's at and where I want to focus my time, because I have kind of hit in a really good niche. I found some really good keywords. It's an absolutely incredible start that if I can, optimize that, this site can really become something really big. So goals for month 12, pretty much have, similar goals. I want to get those 30 articles. Hopefully I can pass 500 in affiliate revenue, 70,000 page views. So I realized according to Ezoic, I did reach, actually no, I only had 77,000. So I hope that I don't cross below that 70,000 page views according to Ezoic. With Q4 December, I hope I get $2,400 in ad revenue. I was just under that in month 11. Maintain this $30 EPMV, both overall and with ads. I think that should happen. But also with the drop in the Bing content, it's possible that could go down. Still need to update those relevant articles. I really, really, really want to get that done because it'll be so refreshing to have that done at the beginning of the new year, to know, okay, everything from 2022 is up to date, ready to go. And then I've been toying with the idea of a print on demand service where I just make some products and designs kind of around the topic that are interesting to my viewers. I don't know if it'll work, but it's a low barrier to entry and relatively low risk when it's print on demand. So I would like to just set that up and see if anybody has interest. So watch outs. The Bing indexing issue is the biggest one. with 30 to 40% of the traffic down. I mean, at this point, I don't think there's much I can do. I checked out all the technicals, and there was nothing wrong. The holidays are coming up. I have work trips, for my full-time job. I'm going to be traveling the first 3 weeks of December. So that's a little bit challenging. But one thing I also would like to talk about, which isn't actually shown on here, is that what I'm trying to do is build a community around this page, because right now it's not really all that personal. It's very it's very concrete, I guess, in its content. It's not all that exciting. It doesn't have a ton of opinion pieces, and I'd really like to get contributors from the community in this niche. So I've been working on it. It hasn't been very successful, but I've been working on trying to get others to contribute content, whether it's pictures or interviews. So I've been reaching out to people on Facebook. I've been reaching out on like forums, like Reddit. But I don't think I've gained any type of, rapport essentially that anybody is interested. So I think it would be great. Actually, I'm just thinking out loud about this. I probably should find some people that I'm close to, that I know are in it, and get some of their feedback first, and feature them in an article. The idea here is that knowing how volatile the search engine, it's not really a market, but how volatile search engines are in terms of traffic, I need to find another way to gain new viewers and readers. And I think that is mostly done in some type of branding, news, stories, things that are really unique. They definitely take some time to build up. I definitely don't plan on stopping the search engine side, but if in the future we're seeing AI pop up and be able to spit back results, Google's getting better at using their own results, that I feel like I can't just rely on Google traffic. So I want to create a community where people come to see the articles, whether it's through Instagram, Facebook, Google Discover, like any of those. But I need to get more people involved so that the content's more interesting. I myself don't get as much exposure to this world as many other people do, and because I am relatively new to it, so I really want to bring in others so that we can have discussions and really create a community around this. And maybe that'll also entail an email list, things like that, which, are all good tactics. I just haven't done that because I've been so focused on getting that organic traffic. So now that I have the organic traffic, I have to find ways to convert them to kind of be part of this community. And I haven't quite figured that out yet, but I definitely want to focus on that, pretty much all through next year. I feel like is going to be my main goal. So I'm going to work on definitely pushing out some content, but I really want to find ways to get people to come to my site outside of search engines. So it's a little bit more reliable. So thank you for sticking through this income report. I hope it was valuable to you. I know the last few months have been pretty stable, so it hasn't been super interesting. But what I'm here to show you is everything basically about my site. You can compare the page views, the monetization, all of that with your site. Again, I'm 11 months in, and you can look at the playlist and find all the videos since the beginning of 2022, but we're approaching the last month, and fingers crossed it ends up being a good Q4. But I know I'm behind the curve on kind of that affiliate-based content. I don't expect to see that much higher, like affiliate earnings and things like that, due to the holiday season. And it's possible over winter this may be a seasonal niche. So I will have to wait it out and find out, and probably won't really know until next year comes and I can compare month over month. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you find this content helpful. I do have an email list as well where I send you some updates. I also post on the community on my YouTube page. So I appreciate you watching through this whole video. This is Blog Sprout. I'm LJ, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.